Good time of day, guys! My name is Godzi, and welcome back to another episode of Higurashi When They Cry, Ch.2 Watanagashi. Last episode, Keiichi learned that Mion and Shion are different people after lots of setup of Keiichi feeling bad for not giving Mion the doll and all the stuff at Angel Mort, and then just at the end, joke. So that was great. I don't know whether this episode's going to be going up late Thursday, which is when it was originally supposed to be uploaded. I forgot to record yesterday. So I might try to get this out today, just cause. Or it might be early tomorrow. It depends on if I remember to edit this. Which I hopefully will remember to, and you guys will hopefully see this later today. The anime. Alright, we're going into spoiler time for the anime. You know the drill. Mute if you don't want to hear spoilers, and when I pull up the menu, you can unmute. Starting now. How do I scream without being too loud? So, that arc's over. I'm fucking... wow. I don't know how to fucking talk about it. I should have given myself more time between watching the episode and recording this, because I watched it like I finished the episode like 20 minutes ago or something like that. Then I watched a shorter YouTube video because I was like, this sounds like fun, and I was like, well, I'm gonna record and gush about that anime episode, and I don't know where the fuck to begin. All right, that commenter who said that Sumihoro Boshi was more than likely going on in the background, me thinks you were right, kind of. Okay, it ended a lot differently than I expected it to. Assuming that with this arc it was going to be Keiichi versus Rena, with both of them having Hinamizaba syndrome, and I guess kind of it still was, but at the same time, not exactly. Thing is, I do not know what the trigger is for Rena to get Hinamizaba syndrome, but without a doubt she had it. Like, she was scratching at her neck. She presumably killed Satoko and Rika. I would have to assume that she did, unless she was working with someone else, which is possible, but part of me doubts it. Case in point, Rena had Hinamizaba syndrome. Satoko and Rika died somehow off screen, stabbed several times in the neck, and she tried to kill Keiichi, and somehow fucking didn't? I don't know if it was because of Keiichi having Hinamizaba syndrome that he got enough adrenaline or something to survive his dozens of stab wounds from Rena. Can I also say, piss poor job censoring. Like, holy shit. I don't know if it was just the version that I was watching or what, but they censored stab wounds and crap like that with just black dots. So, very weird seeing Rena just on top of Keiichi stabbing him several times in presumably the same spot over and over. Why? Like, oh boy, that was weird. And Keiichi actually killed Rena by hitting her in the head with a clock several times, I guess. There's, thing is, what is the point, is what I'm trying to think of. Because after watching that episode, I was just like, well, yeah, clearly, Rena has Hinamizaba syndrome. She might have killed Satoko and Rika. I'm not sure how much it matters that she did. Mion said that it was the same knife. Oh yeah, how about this? Remember how I said, after episode 3 aired, I don't remember which episode of this series it was, but after episode 3 aired, I brought up, the mochi scene, and I was just like, I think we'll get a good confirmation as to where this arc's gonna go on whether or not the mochi scene happens. And in the place of the mochi scene is just chaos. Like, I like what they were really doing with Keiichi. It's really weird, though, how essentially Rika, because she was clearly trying to intervene with how... Oh yeah, the clinic was closed, by the way. That's an interesting change. It was being remodeled for some reason. So that begs the question of where the fuck was Keiichi at the end of the arc? Like, was... Yeah, because he was in the hospital. So, and his parents, Oishi and Mion, came to visit him at different times. Or it could be Shion. I kind of doubt that it's Shion, though. Where was he? I don't remember there being a second hospital or clinic in the game. I do know that this arc, at some point during this arc, Keiichi's bedridden in a hospital as well. And I think Mion or Shion, whoever it is, kills him there. And then... I dropped what I was holding, fidgeting with. A plastic Halloween bone. So I don't know if that's the Irie Clinic at the end of this arc. Obviously, we'll see by the end, but I know this arc ends with... Or no, he gets stabbed outside. Does he get stabbed outside or inside the clinic? I can't remember. Or hospital, wherever he is. I would imagine it's the same place. So how the fuck was Keiichi at the clinic? Or a hospital at the end of Onidamashi. Which, yes, I'm pretty sure it's the... Well, no, that definitely is the end of the arc. It ended way sooner than I thought. I thought I was banking on it being 6 episodes. It was 4. So, that's something. Seems like the next arc is Watadamashi, or Wadamashi. I don't remember, but cotton deceiving is what the subtitles translated it to. Whether that actually means cotton deceiving or what, we'll see. Well, Wata means caution, and caution, nice. Cotton. It should just be called caution drifting, like, you know? Whatever. I also remember in that episode now, when Keiichi's mom was on the phone with Keiichi, and Keiichi's mom asked if Keiichi went to the clinic. Keiichi didn't say that the clinic was being remodeled. He didn't say that it was closed. He just said, yeah, I went. So that's weird. Also, when he went to school, I'm all over the place, but hopefully you guys can at least follow what I'm saying. He went to school after realizing the clinic's just not open, and had a conversation with Rika during lunch. And I think it's pretty clear to see Rika was trying to help, but it only ended up hurting more people. Because presumably Rika and Satoko died before Rena went to Keiichi's house with all those weapons. Why'd she bring so many weapons, by the way? She brought fucking tons of weapons, but only used the knife. And was the knife even, like, why did she bring so many just to use only the knife? Like, was she planning on displaying Keiichi's body or something? Because there was a hacksaw, there was a roll of string or yarn or something. There was like some weird yellow-looking box which might have had screws in it or something. I don't know, but that was wild. That was such a wacky scene. Like, first off, I didn't expect the arc to end so soon. So when Rena actually stabbed Keiichi, I was like, okay. Because he knocked her out for a second, and he could have easily just been like, well, she's fucking dangerous, I'm booking it. But no, he just was like, Rena, are you okay? Sweet princess. Fucking stabbed several times. Doesn't die. Presumably he died at the very end from Hinamizaba syndrome, because the nurse who came in, who definitely wasn't Takano unless she was wearing a wig or dyed her hair, said, does your neck feel itchy? And he was just like, oh, let me check. Ah! And then he started screaming and the episode ended. So, weird episode overall. So yeah, Rika trying to help, but only causing worse things to happen. Because I get the feeling that she's just like, yeah, I see patterns from that one time. So I'm just gonna tell Keiichi, hey, it's all in your head. You're the only one making Rena out to be a monster. And he's just like, alright, cool. And then he believes that, lets her into his house, and uh-oh. It wasn't in your head, Keiichi, or maybe part of it was. So, that's something. Rena's whole speech about saving her dad, that's also something? Because what does Keiichi have to... I'm kind of under the impression that she probably didn't kill Satoko and Rika. Because Rena was talking about, how she was going to kill Keiichi and be demoned away. And then that would be, the curse for that year. Hold your horses. Is the trigger for Rena getting Hinamizaba syndrome there not being, like, a death or someone going missing? Because, like, I can only assume that in Onigafuchi, it's publicized, it's like public knowledge. Tomitake's dead, Takano's missing. But if both are just missing, then would that cause Rena to go bonkers? Or does something else cause her to lose her mind and develop Hinamizaba syndrome? I am not sure. The biggest mystery with this arc, though, is Tomitake and Takano. Like, is it Takano? Is it really Takano behind everything this time? I kind of get the feeling that maybe not. Something's gotta be different. Something's gotta be different. Because Rika was out of the time loop, and then she was pulled back in. Hanyu told her that she has to go back, so she did. And then there's just sudden differences in the pattern. Like, I don't know if one of these 8 main arcs has Tomitake either survive or at least not be confirmed dead. So, if that's the case, then that's not really a major difference, and it would also create questions about Sumi Horoboshi as to how Rena actually does develop Hinamizawa syndrome. If it's not caused by no one being dead from the curse or missing from the curse. It could have something to do with Pinky. It could, but I don't know. I feel like there's more layers to this arc that we didn't see. So I wouldn't be surprised if this arc pulls a, like, Arc 2, Watanagashi versus Arc 5 type deal, where eventually another arc shows the same story from Rena's perspective, or maybe someone else, maybe, like, I don't know, Satoko's or Rika's even. Because, as it stands, there's a lot of questions. We don't know where Tomitake is. Takano could presumably still just be gone, away in her fucking laboratory or whatever. Which, is her laboratory the clinic? I cannot remember. I don't think it is. No, it probably isn't. Because Irie, I don't think, is in on her bullshit. And if he is, it's unwilling. But, yeah. All I know is that, like, somehow Satoshi's there. Was Satoshi not brought up at all? No, he wasn't, was he? Satoshi wasn't brought up a single time in Onitamashi. And Mion was never creepy. Meaning creepy Mion is in Watanagashi. So, I'm assuming that there's probably going to be some sort of pattern to how these arcs play out. So in this first arc, clearly the people who are affected by Hinamizawa syndrome are Rena, and to a lesser extent, Keiichi. Keiichi enough to the point where he still murders Rena. Presumably. She might have killed herself. Like, she might have scratched her neck open and the clock didn't kill her. But, not a clue. Keiichi also didn't write a note. Because I guess he was never suspicious enough of multiple people to write a note. It was only ever Rena. So, that's weird. So yeah, Keiichi and Rena both had Hinamizawa syndrome. And Keiichi ended up still presumably killing Rena, or Rena scratched her own neck open and died. And then, Rena, or Keiichi, presumably died in the hospital. They said they couldn't. Okay, that's another thing though. When Mion was at the hospital, that's when Keiichi learned Rena's dead and Satoko and Rika are dead. However, the language that was used was very different, because there was obviously a flash showing Satoko and Rika dead with a lot of blood over their necks, but the language Mion used about referring to Rena, she said they couldn't save Rena. She did not say Rena is dead. She said they couldn't save Rena. So that could mean she did survive, and, like, she's gone? As in, she couldn't be saved from Hinamizawa syndrome, but I don't think Mion would know about it. Maybe she does. Maybe that's a difference with these arcs, that Mion knows something too. But then, that could apply to anybody. Anybody could know anything. Because, like, it can be understood why Rika has to die. It can even be understood somewhat why Keiichi has to die, from Rena's perspective. But Satoko, what does Satoko have to do with it? And why was Mion spared? Because if it was Rena who killed Rika and Satoko, was she going to kill Keiichi and then Mion? Like, was she going by age? Regardless, how I think the rest of these arcs are going to go, clearly there's a naming similarity. Onikakushi, instead of Onikakushi, it's Onidamashi. And then instead of Watanagashi, it's Watadamashi. So I'm guessing what's going to happen in this arc is they're going to pull a similar dichotomy that they did in Onidamashi between Keiichi and Rena by doing it with Mion and Shion. Because as far as I know, Mion might have never had Hinamizawa syndrome in the main 8 arcs, assuming that it's Shion who kills everyone in this arc. Because it's definitely Shion in arc 5, but it might be Shion here too. So, yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if, like, the third arc of Higurashi Go, is like, I don't remember what the third arc is called. I guess I can pull it up on Steam, because I do own it. Where the fuck is Higurashi? There it is. Tatari Garoshi. So it could be like Tatari Damashi or something like that. Granted, it doesn't really have the same pattern as Onikakushi, Watanagashi, Tatari Garoshi. So then they call it Tatari Damashi. I don't know. And then chapter 4 is Himatsubushi. So that could be like Hima Damashi, depending on like what's the word and what's not. But still, I don't remember exactly what happens in Himatsubushi, but I think in Tatari Garoshi, Satoko gets Hinamizawa syndrome, and Keiichi might also, to a lesser extent, and he kills Satoko's uncle for some reason. I don't know. And then I don't remember how it ends. I'm pretty sure Keiichi kills Satoko's uncle towards like the middle of the arc, so I'm not too sure as to how that works, but I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Watadamashi, though, tries to create something with giving Mion and Shion Hinamizawa syndrome, unless for some reason that I'm forgetting Mion is immune to Hinamizawa syndrome, but I don't know why that would be the case. Yeah, I don't know why at all. Okay, maybe, okay, now I kind of have a theory as to why maybe Rena had to kill Satoko, as well as Rika. This reason does also apply to Rika. Because of their relationship to the curse. Because Rika's parents died 1 year, Satoko's parents and, Satoshi died or went missing in different years. And then aside from and then no one else is dead. So, like, maybe she kills Rika and Satoko because they're related to the curse. Or maybe that's why someone else kills them. Maybe Mion does, even. But I would be very surprised if that's the case. Mion actually also did say that their deaths were either considered a murder or a suicide. And I do know that it is definitely possible for Rika to have enough motivation to stab herself several times in the neck with a knife. That is definitely true. But it was also specified the same knife was used to kill Rika and Satoko. Well, no. The same knife was used to kill Rika and Satoko. Not necessarily the same knife was used to kill Rika, Satoko, and used by Rena to stab Keiichi. That I don't think was necessarily stated. But still, how the fuck does Keiichi not die from all those stab wounds? How the fuck does Rena die from the clock? If she did. If she's even technically dead. She might not be. The language used was either translated to the point where it is considered unsure language, and maybe in Japanese it's a lot more clear. Like, they're a lot more clear with what they say. Like, instead of Mion saying they couldn't save Rena, she says Rena's dead. Or they couldn't help her live. Or survive, or something. So, I don't know. Either way, the enemy's catching up to me, guys. I'm fucking terrified now. So, I need to make sure that I record this series always before Super Mario or something, so I can always have it out on time. And maybe I'll try and make the episodes a little longer, too. Like, I read for an hour 20 instead of an hour. Just to try and get through a bit faster. Because I don't know if I'm just going through this arc very slowly, or if it takes very, very long to pick up. But either way, anime's kind of going ham. And I'm terrified to see what else they do, because is it safe to say that that's like the most grisly? No. There's been grisly murders in the original 8 arcs too, like Shion killing Satoko in arc 5, Rika's suicide in arc 5, and I guess you could also say the same about Keiichi killing Rena and Mion. But, well, that wasn't even a murder scene, to be fair, of Rena trying to kill Keiichi. So, yeah, very, 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 very weird. I don't know. I would be pretty happy if they have another arc showing it from Rena's perspective, or Mion's, or someone else's, to show what else is going on in the background. Maybe a neutral party like Rika. Because, like, sometimes we see Rika seeing what's going on, other times we don't. Because, like, we saw Rika at the very, very beginning of the arc, standing over Rena and Keiichi at the garbage dump. And then, like, we saw her in the fucking crystal realm with Hanyu. And then beyond that, the only time after that we really saw her viewing something was in the episode that just aired today, of her looking at Keiichi when he came to the classroom. I get the feeling that she must have noticed this is a very massive difference from Onigafuchi, if she even calls it that, but she probably doesn't. It'd be kind of weird if she refers to alternate timelines where she and her friends all get murdered by each other as like, ah yeah, Onigafuchi. It's also possible that Keiichi 100% remembered Onigafuchi at the end. Or maybe a similar but different arc. Because whenever he would remember Onigafuchi, it only really shows him swinging the bat at Rena. Like, it showed Rena's corpse, Mion's chopped liver, or just not there. So, weird, huh? Very, very weird. So maybe that's, like, literally a carbon copy of Onigafuchi, except Mion's not involved? I don't know. It depends on what causes, like, what happened? Like, obviously the reason Mion didn't go to, Keiichi's house is because he still went to school. So that's what caused that. And the reason Keiichi was never suspicious of Mion is because Oishi never told him about Mion. He only ever told him about Rena. So, yeah, that's easily my longest discussion about the anime yet. But that's because there's a lot to discuss. We still have, like, fucking 0 answers. So I guess we're going to have to see more clearly in Watanagashi what changes, what stays the same, if anything changes, if anything stays the same. Like, it might literally just be Watanagashi again, but from Rika's perspective. And it also seems like these arcs might end a lot sooner, because, like, you could argue the first bloodshed in Onigafuchi was the needle. Granted, there was no needle, possibly, or it was something else. But, yeah, and then in the anime, at the first point of bloodshed, instead of the needle scene with the mochi, it's just Rena trying to kill Keiichi. So, yeah. I have nothing else to say, at least right now. Welcome back. Let's fucking read for forever. The next day. It was a strange day where Mion was desperate to regain her composure. Every time our eyes met, she would say that she had something to do, or that she had to use the washroom and run off. Unable to just watch, Rena was taking care of her the entire time. Satoko, you kind of blipped in and out of existence there.
Mion-san, she's acting totally strange today.
I know the whole story, but it's hard to explain.
There are times when girls are emotionally unstable. It's best to just leave her alone.
Turning around, I saw Rena calling me from the hallway. I wondered what it was. That is not the hallway, that is outside.
Keiichi-kun, over here, over here.
What is it, calling me over like this? Is it a secret?
That is... It looks like it was a disaster.
Yeah.
Mi-chan seemed pretty broken, but I somehow got her working again.
I'm surprised you managed it. How did you exactly?
Same way I do with the television. Just come at it from a 45-degree angle and hiya!
Alright. Saying that, she made a chopping motion. You know, I can't tell if you're joking or not, right?
She'll be fine by tomorrow. Also, there's something I want you to do, Keiichi-kun.
I didn't mean to do anything wrong, but I still feel guilty. I'm listening.
Thanks. You see, Mi-chan is just going to pretend the last few days never happened.
Never happened, huh? I see. Well, that's one way to run from it.
So, you see... Keiichi-kun, could you pretend too? Then Mi-chan can go back to normal.
Just doing something as simple as that? Is it really going to be okay?
Please, until Mi-chan gets her feelings in order, just go with it.
Okay. I got it. Even though I shouldn't have been at fault, for some reason I felt guilty. The one at fault here was the one who knew about the entire situation and pretended to be Mion for an entire day. Shion. But she never once said that she was Mion. What am I supposed to be angry at? Seeing me stomping the ground impatiently, Rena giggled.
But Keiichi-kun, you knew as well that Mi-chan has some cute things about her.
Rena talked in a calm voice as her hair rustled in the wind. Yeah, I know that she'll never let it be boring.
Good.
Following this curt reply, Rena looked up at the sky and stretched.
As long as you realize that, Keiichi-kun, these past few days will soon be nothing more than a story to laugh about.
Copying Rena, I also began to stretch as I looked at the sky. The clear sky towered into the distance.
There's no club activities or anything today. I'm sorry, Keiichi-kun, but just for today, can you go home by yourself? It'll all be back to normal by tomorrow, so just for today. Okay?
If all it took for everything to go back to normal was to leave Mion alone for today, then it was an easy decision to make. Got it? I can't say it directly to Mion, so I'll say it to you. I still feel kinda guilty about it, so I want to apologize.
No! The root of the problem was Keiichi-kun saying something insensitive, right? So if you learned anything from this, you need to look a bit into gaining a sense of delicacy.
Right. I'll try. That day was the shortest day of my life. Rena was talking to Mion while accompanying her around the entire time. It looked like a really fun conversation, so I reflexively thought about joining in, but I had made a promise not to. It seemed that Mion was also trying her best to ignore me. So likewise, I did my best to ignore her. Oh, I just hit something on my desk. For the first time in a while, I ate lunch alone. Mion and Rena ate theirs by themselves. As I let out a sigh in my ashen mood, Rika-chan came over and patted me on the head.
Both Keiichi and me learned a whole lot.
I never say it like that. It made it sound like we were having romantic problems. I didn't like that one bit. Hopefully the teacher wouldn't notice and call us to the staff room after school or something.
I'm sure that Keiichi will grow up to be a wonderful adult. Pat.
Rika-chan is the studious type, so maybe you'll grow up to be an amazingly wonderful adult.
Of course. When I grow up, I'll be super amazing. When I grow up, I'll be an amazing lady, you know?
No matter how old you get, you'll still be a brat. You can put money on it.
What did you say?
As Satoko snapped her fingers, a wash basin fell from above, hitting me squarely in the head. Ow! What do you think you're doing, Satoko? Bang, smash. Pinch, squeeze. It was a day I could thoroughly appreciate the value of having friends. Wow! 8-minute chapter, huh? Well, no, that wasn't even 8. That was like 5 or 6. No tips either, okay. Well, I think we read one at the end of last episode, didn't we? Yeah, we did. Because they introduced that, Kasai person. I think. Alright. After school. Today was Saturday, so school ended in the blink of an eye. It really felt good to go home with the sun so high in the sky. On any other day, our club would have been up to mischief during our ample after-school time. But today, Rika-chan had a rehearsal for tomorrow's Watanagashi to go to. Oh, finally we're getting to the festival. How is that going, Rika-chan? Do you have it down in practice?
I'll try harder than last year.
You were so exhausted and sweaty after last year's ceremony.
She'll look far more fit for the role this year. Please look forward to the fruits of her training.
The Watanagashi Festival everyone had been talking about was tomorrow, wasn't it? The festival being in June felt a little early to me, but the onset of summer came quickly this year, so it fit the image of a summer festival pretty well.
Okay, we'll be off then.
Hold on, I want to go into spoiler time for a second, just to ask a random question. So, starting now. Okay, so through each of these arcs, is the weather forecast the same? I realize that's a random fucking question, but throughout all of Onigafuchi, the weather was mostly just always sunny. Like, or it didn't even ever have an overcast, did it? And then there was that one day that it rained. And that was when Rena was outside constantly apologizing. So, I don't think it matters, really. But if it's really a time loop, then it should be, right? I wonder if that was overlooked. I guess we'll see. Because I'd have to fucking go through Onigafuchi with, like, a fucking tooth and comb in order to figure out... Tooth and comb. Is that technically the right term? I don't know. With a magnifying glass to figure out how much time passes and between what dates. Because the Watanagashi Festival is always on the same day. So we'd have to figure out which night it rained. Which night that, Rena was outside Keiichi's window apologizing constantly. And then, we cross-reference it with the rest of the chapters in the game and determine, was it ever raining again? Thank you, music, for cutting out. Welcome back.
Look forward to tomorrow. Good day to you all.
Satsuko and Rika-chan waved to us energetically, then left. You know, I never asked. Where's the festival happening anyway? I don't remember there being anywhere around here that seems suited for hosting one. Weren't you told to walk home by yourself, Keiichi? They do it at the Furudai Shrine. We went there for a walk one day, remember? It was that place with a really good view. Oh, right, I remember. There was a shrine all the way up on that hill, wasn't there? Seemed far too grand for Hinamizaba. There's a great meeting hall in the shrine too. The older people get together there and sing karaoke or practice calligraphy from time to time. It's more like a recreational facility than a simple shrine. I see. I guess it makes sense that it looks so grand then.
Mi-chan, is your family going to help set up today?
Yep, we have male hands for that. Most of our relatives come from town to help. Male hands, huh? Well, I mean, I have nothing to do at home today, so... Would it be a problem if I squirm my way in there to help out too? Huh? You want to help us, Kei-chan? Not if it'll bother you all. I was just kind of interested. We had bond dances and other festivals in the town I used to live in, but I didn't even know where they took place, much less wanted to help. You could say that I had absolutely no connection to the region. Oops. Having come to Hinamizaba, though, it really made me feel like this place was a home that I had returned to. Before I knew it, I harbored a little interest in the small community activity of preparing for a festival the day before.
I wonder if you'll be able to, Keiichi-kun. There's a lot of building tents and setting up chairs. I hear it's pretty hard physical labor.
I mean, I wouldn't be doing it alone, right? The more hands we have, the faster it'll go. Mion looked happy to hear that, but at the same time, her expression was complex, tinged with hesitation. Rena gave her the last push for me.
It's decided then. You should go for it, Keiichi-kun. He's all yours, Mi-chan. Put him through the ringer.
Well, I can't argue with a recommendation from Rena. Okay then, go home first, put on some work clothes, and come to the shrine. Oh, and you might want to bring a towel to wipe your sweat too. Got it. I may look scrawny, but I actually quite like breaking a sweat under the hot sun. Careful you don't hurt your back, okay? Right, enough of my old man spiel. I'll go to the shrine too, soon as I've changed.
Mi-chan, you do your best too. Bye-bye!
Mion waved vigorously to us and left. As far as I could tell from her gallant, retreating figure, she seemed to have recovered from the weak state she had yesterday.
Girls are quick to get over things. Mi-chan is already fine.
Right. Her switching back to normal so cleanly really makes it easy for me to talk to her.
It was kind of funny though, wasn't it? Kind of like Cinderella. Like, you can't meet her anymore once the magic wears off.
Rena began to giggle a fair bit in amusement. Yeah, oh my fucking god. I'm so stupid. I was literally gonna ask, was Cinderella out during the 80s? No shit, it was out in like the 50s-ish? It was either the 40s, 50s, or 60s. I don't know which, but it was out before the 80s, that's for sure. Might have even been the 30s. Did she like this sort of thing? Incidentally, me going along with it gave me a weird, hard-to-describe feeling. Did I turn myself into a plaything, or did they do it for me? If you think it's so funny, then you should try pretending to be a different Rena, too.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. Keiichi-kun, what kind of Rena would you want to meet?
Okay. Bruh.
I can't do that.
She'd be great at cooking and make me lunch and come to see me in the mornings. She already... Oh, that's the point.
I do that already.
I pull Rena's head into a tight grip, then start to pet it. You're Rena Ryugu, right? Rena, not Rena. So you just stay as Rena forever. Got it?
Thanks.
When did you already learn her real name? Are tips universal? Because I think that was a tip in Onigafuchi, them being like, yeah, Rena's real name is Rena.
Have fun setting... I can't read. Have fun helping set up the festival.
You got it. Let's meet up tomorrow. I got changed right away, and swinging a towel around my neck like Mion suggested, I set off for the shrine. We're going into spoiler time for a second, because I just realized something very, very important about the anime. Oh my god. Alright, mute now. What is Rena's weapon of choice, guys? It isn't a knife! It is not a knife. It is that hatchet. Why'd she use a knife to try and kill Keiichi? She has never used a knife to try and kill people. It's only ever been the hatchet. Granted, how often does she actually kill people in Higurashi? Good question. I think she only kills Pinky in, like, Arc 6. And she does that with the hatchet. I remember that for sure. She doesn't kill anyone else, to my knowledge. So therefore, she only uses the hatchet. That's her fucking weapon of choice. Why'd she use a knife all of a sudden? Like, why all of a sudden is it a knife? I don't understand. So, that brings up the question of, was that Rena? Was it? I don't know. Welcome back. Did I read this line? I don't know. I'm gonna say it then. I got changed right away, and swinging a towel around my neck like Mion suggested, I set off for the shrine. Stairs. Shrine. At the shrine, there were more people than you'd imagine even live in Hinamizaba there. All cordoning off areas and setting up tent frameworks, chatting amongst themselves as they did so. Alright, where's Mion? The liveliness of the throng didn't make it easy to look for her. I searched around as if I already worked there, and suddenly the principal called out to me. If it isn't Mayabara-kun. Interesting. Have you come to help with the Watanagashi setup?
Hello?
Yes, I was just wondering if there was anything I could help with. How commendable your attitude is. Feel free to sweat to your heart's content. Gah! Okay. I wonder if Tomitake is gonna be here. We haven't seen him all arc, and he's probably gotta show up sometime, right? Spurred on by the principal, I came upon a group of people setting up tents. Man. Oh, what's this? It's Mayabara-chan. Did you come all this way to help us? I hadn't found Mion yet, but I suppose I'd just get in her way if I ran into her. Yeah, I'm here to help. Just tell me where you need me. You young ones have all the vitality. Here, grab some work gloves. Ever built a tent before? No, never. Delighting in teaching a new skill to someone younger, plenty of people happily taught me all sorts of things. Okay, kid, go inside the tent and tie up just the cords for the top. After that, we'll stand it up and tie the rest of them. Butterfly knots are okay, right? There and there. All done? We're standing it up! 1, 2, 3! What was once nothing more than a collapsed tent was raised on 4 splendid legs before my eyes in mere moments. Whoa. Seeing it put together like this is actually pretty moving. Okay. You're easily impressed. Come on, no time to stare and wonder. We've got a lot more to do. We packed the tents into the truck, so go get them from there. They're heavy, so take someone with you. Hold on, why do you even have tents for this? No, I'm good. I may look scrawny, but I'm actually pretty strong. What? They look light enough, so I thought they were. But they're heavy. That's why I told you to have someone help. Come on, said the man, lifting it up with a grunt and taking it away under his arm. Either I'm weak or these old guys all have superhuman strength. Let's go! You're the youngest one here, so we're going to make you sweat for it. Do your best! Beer after work is the best! I'm a minor. Sweat dripped from my body. I had been fully and completely absorbed in helping them. I would never have thought the cold barley tea from the Women's Society could taste this delicious. Fuck, is it a dude or... An old man or an old woman? Let's try and combine it. You're so young. Make sure you drink a lot. Thank you. It was then that I realized the crowd had formed near the shrine a ways off. When I took a closer look, I saw a girl dressed in shrine maiden garb and a handful of old men looking like they were preparing for the ceremony together. Is that Rika-chan? Hey, Rika-chan! Do you best! I shouted and it seemed like she heard me. Rika-chan, positively exploding with vitality, answered with a smile. The older guys with me watched Rika-chan as well, with distant gazes. Rika-chama is doing a great job. She seems far more used to this than she did last year. Okay, yep, old woman. The old lady who gave me the tea clasped what looked like prayer beads in her hands and said, Rika-sama! We thank you, we thank you. And just like that, began to respectfully pray to her. Why is the formatting of this part in particular actually formatted like a book? Like, that's just kind of weird. Just a sudden shift in format. Because you don't have to write it like that. Maybe it's just a weird translation thing. A different guy did this part. Huh? I just remembered that they called it the Furudai Shrine. Wasn't Rika-chan's full name Rika Furudai? The man standing next to me answered my question. That's right. Rika-chama's Furudai clan is ancient and honorable, and has worshipped Oyashiro-sama for generations. Huh. I'd always gotten the feeling she wasn't quite your average person, but it turned out she was from an esteemed family. After her father, who was the shrine priest, died the year before last, she's really been doing her best to learn the rituals. I wish the priest could have been here to see how wonderfully she's grown up. What? Rika-chan's father passed away? Okay, break time is over. Let's get the chairs we're not using back to the gym in Okinomiya. Maki-san, pull the truck around here and take a few people with you. And don't kill anybody! Alright, Mayabara-kun, let's get to work on one last job. Gah! You're gonna make me do more work? Can't tell if they know I'm a minor or not, but the older men all cheer me on, encouraging me to do my best and that the beer will be great. I've had a sip of beer before. It's awful! Like, genuinely. I'm not even 20, so that's something. But I don't know. I really doubt a switch will flip in my mind when I turn 21 and just be like, ah yes, grass soda is delicious. Kei-chan, working hard I see. I passed by Mion. She was carrying a big cardboard box. Looked like she was right in the middle of working as well. Judging by the sweat seeping into her shirt, it seemed I wasn't the only one with his hands full. Yeah, I'm working my ass off. You work hard too. The beer's gonna be great. We were worked to the bone until the sun began to set and it started cooling off. Okay. Fade to black. Ah, orange. Sepia filter. It was soon full-fledged night. Yeah, okay. And the clear sound of the Higurashi eased the moderate pain I felt. The older guys began their night before drinking party in a tent a fair bit off, causing quite a ruckus. The shrine grounds, on the other hand, had turned into a lonely road tickled by the cool evening breeze, despite being so festive just a little while ago. The wind felt good. I leaned on one of the stone guardian dogs at the front of the shrine. I gave my legs a good stretch as I let my mind wander, and suddenly a paper cup filled with barley tea was thrust before me. Oh, hi, Shion.
Kei-chan, great work. Here's some tea for you.
You're so considerate. Thanks, Her voice sounded exactly the same, but it felt somehow different. Well, gee, I'm sorry that the voices I use for them are different. It's like they're different characters, and I want to distinguish them, but the game doesn't want me to, so huh. Wait, you're...
Heya, it's Shion. Don't go giving Mion all the credit. She isn't considerate at all. Don't get us confused, okay?
Shion, you little... Now that I've caught you, you're not getting away!
It was your mistake, Kei-chan. I've never said I was anyone other than Shion.
Ugh, I guess I can't argue with that. I actually got a comment last episode. I can't believe I forgot to bring this up. Was it last episode or was it multiple episodes ago? I don't know. Let's check real quick. Boom. Fuck, no, it wasn't last episode. Am I insane? Or what? Was it in this? No, I have no fucking clue. Oh well, whatever. I thought, at least, that I got a comment saying that, the Mion that we'd been seeing most of the chapter was still Shion. So, I don't know. Very weird, these two, constantly switching. You know, this could be Mion. The Mion we saw could be Shion. It's fucking weird.
That's right. You're no match for my older sister, so I can't let you be a match for me either. Anyway, your tea. It's going to get warm. Come on, please cheer up. I'm trying to make it up to you with this tea.
Well, she did come all the way here to give it to me. I guess I'll accept it. I took the cup and downed it in one gulp. Alright. And then suddenly, ah! I heard a loud shout and it got stuck in my throat. Oh. Oh. I thought you were going to say, oh fuck, it's still hot. Which one is it this time? Is it the real Mion? Shion? Why are you hanging out with Keiichi again?
Because unlike you, I'm very considerate. Keiichi was so sweaty, I couldn't leave him alone, so I brought him some tea. By the way, why are you holding 2 cups of tea?
Mion's face went bright red and she tried to hide the paper cups behind her back.
Well, this is...
I would not be surprised if they're literally just swapped right now.
There's no way you, such a rough, timid, good sister of mine, would ever briskly bring a male classmate tea, is there? So, what are they? What are those 2 cups of tea?
These are, well, right. I was just so thirsty, I figured I'd drink too.
That's so like you. Come on, chug chug.
As Shion cheered at her, Mion downed both the cups of tea, one after the other.
What a fabulous drink that was. I expected nothing less from you. Kei-chan, you give her a hand too.
Wait, suddenly the situation has gotten unbelievable. Mion doesn't usually get manipulated so easily like that. I've known for a while now, but Shion is terrifying. Mion? You can't hold your own against Shion? I hate her! And lately, I hate her even more. Tomitake! I literally just lifted my hands up as if to say, like, oh yeah, yet again I'm just like, hey, when is this going to happen? And then it happens in this episode. Just then, I heard the snap of a camera shutter. Oh, and Takano also, hi. Good evening. The festival is coming up tomorrow. Thanks for all your hard work setting it up today.
Good evening. Oh, Shion-chan. It's quite unusual for you to come here.
Oh, hey! It's Tomitake and Takano-san! Wait, interestingly enough, yeah. Huh. Okay.
Good evening. It's been a while, hasn't it?
So you're that transfer student I've been hearing about. Keiichi Maebara-kun, right? You really did a bang-up job today. I'm impressed. I feel like I've seen this photographer guy before. Have we met before? I'm glad you remembered. We've passed many times on the road, Keiichi-kun. I'm Tomitake. I'm a freelancing photographer from Tokyo.
Good evening. Do you recognize me?
I'm sorry, but I don't.
She's Mio Takano-san. Do you remember when you were at the doctor's office when you still had a cold, Kei-chan?
Did that,
Did, no?
Keiichi never went to the hospital this arc, did he? Did he? I don't think he did. Unless this is something that happened before the arc? I don't know.
Mio-san is one of the nurses who works there. Call me Takano. I'm pleased to meet you. Tell me when you're coming in for treatment. I'll prepare a huge needle for you.
That's very thoughtful of you. Tomitake-san seemed to be quite entertained at the Sonozaki twins being in the same place, and he took picture after picture. Wow, I'd heard you two were identical twins, but it really is quite something to see you side by side. You really do look exactly alike.
We're not just alike on the outside. See, our underwear matches too.
God, you idiot! What the heck are you doing? Things have never been as lively as when the two of them are together. I thought they were exactly the same at first, but I've started to get a handle on which one is which. Mion is Mion, and Shion, well, she seems a far better actor than Mion was. In the first place, somebody that could spurn Mion so easily wouldn't have shown such weakness to those lard buckets at Angel Mort. If that was the case, then that cowardly behavior from that day was all a complete act.
They were even more alike when they were little.
Oh, okay.
I heard even their parents had a hard time telling which was which.
That's really easy to imagine. And I totally understand what they must have gone through. Takano gave me kind of an odd look, but explaining would have been a pain, so I didn't bother.
Tomitake, are you going straight back to Tokyo after you get your pictures of the festival?
Yep, though I would rather just stay here forever. Silly adult things, that's all.
I hope your photos win a fabulous prize soon. I've been praying for it.
Thanks. Next time I come, I'll bring the pictures I took of you all today.
Mayabara-kun, you did a lot of work today. You must be tired from all the physical labor you're not used to.
Huh? Well, I'm tired, but it was still pretty fun.
Aw, youth, I'm so jealous.
Takano-san smiled with an adult elegance that no one in my circle of friends possessed. The wind caught her hair. She gives off an intelligent beauty. Okay. Wow, roll call! Oh, why hello everyone. Seemed like our merry crowd was standing out. This time an overweight older man addressed us. And again, it was someone I thought I knew. If I recall correctly, he's a policeman, isn't he?
Oh, Oishi-san. Good evening. Doing a preliminary security inspection for tomorrow?
Something like that. Oh, if it isn't Tomitake-kun. It's certainly been a while. I'm honored you remembered my name. You really do love Hinamizaba, don't you? The apartments around here are far cheaper than the ones in Tokyo. You should just move here and get it over with. I know a realtor I can introduce you to. I appreciate the thought. I'd very much like to follow up on that. Alright everyone, have a good year. And Happy New Year to the Sonozaki twins too.
Happy New Year, Detective Oishi. We appreciate your work. We'd like to end this year's festival with the least amount of inconvenience possible.
That's pretty strict on me. Detective Oishi left us with a low laugh and headed off to talk with some police officer standing a ways away. I gave Mion a glance and saw her making an annoyed face, as if she were glaring bullets at someone she hated. Like Oishi? Why do they not like Oishi? I can't remember.
Yeah. It'd be nice if the police didn't have anything to do during Watanagashi this year.
You like this place too, don't you?
Oh, you mean to say you dislike it, Jiro-san? I quite enjoy such fantastic stories, you know. Especially with the times being so dry and uninteresting.
The curse of Oyashiro-sama, you mean? Curse. Tomitake-san used a troubling word. Then, suddenly, someone tugged on my arm.
Kei-chan, I'm pretty hungry. Wanna go to the tent with the drinks and have some candy and sweets? I'm up for that. I've gotten a little hungry as well. Okay, let's go. A moment later, Shion said something to Takano and Tomitake that stung my ears and gave me a start. I wonder who will die and who will disappear this year. I pulled back from Mion's grip and stopped abruptly. Shion, what did she just say? It felt like the air around us dried out all of a sudden. So that's something interesting. Mion is still trying to be like, I don't want Keiichi to be afraid of this place. Because of the fucking, curse. So, Let's go, Kei-chan. They're talking about something silly anyway. You still haven't told Kei-chan? I make it a point not to spread stories like that. Shion's cold and quiet tone and Mion's harsh voice were quite the contrast. Hey, wait, hold on. What are you talking about? If you know something, then tell me. It doesn't feel right being the only one left out, you know? I don't understand this. Someone explain it to me. However, Mion didn't seem to be at all willing to grant my request. She squeezed my hand in hers a bit, but when she realized I would hold my ground on this topic, she let go. I'm gonna go to the drinking tent first, then. If you don't come soon, Kei-chan, there won't be any left for you. I get it already! I'll be there soon. Mion left, trotting towards a particularly noisy tent on the other side of the shrine grounds. Before she got there, she stopped and turned back around. I showed no signs of going after her, though, so she ran off. I could tell you if you haven't heard, I suppose. But it might be smarter not to ask and go with her to eat dessert. Hey now, you've already gotten my full attention here. I'm not going to leave without asking at this point. I think Kei-chan has the right to hear this too. My sister was just stealing that from you. Shion's voice was bristling with thorns, as if somehow blaming Mion. What on earth are you talking about? I don't really like people acting so self-important. Takano-san, realizing how prepared I was, looked across the group. After confirming that there were no objections, she opened her mouth. Do you believe in curses, Mayabara-kun? Curses? I think they're interesting, but I don't really. I felt their cynical stares and winced. It was like they were telling me it was stranger to not to believe in curses. You're not wrong, Kei-chan. Curses are just superstition. It's only natural that you wouldn't believe in them. Besides, you can take all the time you need to decide whether to believe in curses after you've heard us through, said Takano-san, giving a little smile. They're trying to scare me. At least, that's what it feels like. Alright, I'll start. Keiichi-kun, do you know about the Hinamizaba Dam project? Oh yeah, the other day at Angel Mort, Shion, or Mion rather, told me all about it. You're still doing that, but okay. You mean the plan for the giant dam that would flood all of Hinamizaba, right? That's right. Residents of the town banded together to fight it, and a fierce battle with the government unfolded. I've heard that too. The entire village united, using all the power at their disposal. Mass media, political influence, and other things, and fought the country. The way Mion described it made it sound like a boast. Oh, you know quite a bit about it. Yes, you're right. It's practically an epic tale. How just 1,000 or so villagers banded together and rejected the government's plans. Did you hear this from my sister? She likes those kinds of epics, you know? Yeah, she told me. There was, however, an office for the Hinamizaba residents' opposition faction. It was this shrine. You know the assembly hall? That's where it used to be. Now that the whole thing is over, the senior citizens just use it for group activities. At the time, though, it was their last bastion. Takano-san explained this, pointing a finger towards the assembly hall. I had been carrying things in and out of there all day. I mean, I would understand if they put an office like that in the mayor's house or something. But having an office on shrine grounds made it feel kind of like a base camp for Sengoku period warriors. That was basically the mindset, though.
Placing the main force in the shrine dedicated to Oyashiro-sama, Hinamizawa's guardian deity, was like a prayer for victory. Oyashiro-sama. That was definitely it. They mentioned Oyashiro-sama's curse before. Is it the same Oyashiro-sama? Do you know about Oyashiro-sama, Keiichi-kun? It's the name of the god worshipped at the shrine. It's said that he protects all of Hinamizaba. Well, I don't really know much about him. I see. I think Takano-san knows more about the rest. Tag, you're it. Well, that is generally the whole story. Oyashiro-sama is the ancient god passed down in Hinamizaba, and the villagers say he has been protecting the sanctuary from the poisons of the outside world. So essentially, he's a basic, standard guardian deity. I guess you can find that sort of god anywhere you go. There's research into whether worshipping Oyashiro-sama is a manifestation of a kind of elitism too. What I mean is that the worshippers might think of themselves as chosen people. Believing yourself chosen, a nationalistic belief that you are part of a superior race, or that you're a special clan chosen by the gods. They believe that they're a superior clan, so they believe strongly in cooperating with others, but they also end up being exclusionary towards other clans. I won't go into too much detail, but it's the sort of national and religious ideas that lead to war. Of course, that goes for Japan too. A long time ago, the people of Hinamizawa strongly believed themselves different from humans, that they were above them. They believed that interaction with the lower world would sully their souls. So everyone believed that if one from the lower world came to the village, they would be sullied and suffer the wrath of Oyashiro-sama. Apparently, that kept everyone away. Villages that hate outsiders come up all the time in mystery novels. This was once a classic example of a xenophobic village.
Well, they'll deny it to preserve their pride. It was all a long time ago, after all. Things are different now.
Shion followed up quickly, having sensed the thorns in Tomitake-san's words. Tomitake-san, embarrassed at what he said, scratched at his head. So this shrine worships Oyashiro-sama, thinks of Hinamizawa as holy ground, and it's a symbol for their traditional hatred of the outside world. I get it. So that's why they chose the shrine of Hinamizawa's guardian spirit as their base of operations, to resist the sully dam construction project that came from the outside. Correct, smiled Takano, pleased. She must dislike stupid people. Superstition, every last bit of it. The villagers gave everything, desperate to oppose the dam construction. And right in the midst of it, the incident drove home the finishing blow. Oyashiro-sama's curse.
The person managing the construction site of the Hinamizawa Dam was murdered. 4 years ago, I believe? It took the newspapers by storm. Do you remember it?
No, not really.
He had a fight with a subordinate and was beaten to death with a pickaxe. His limbs and head were torn off and the remains disposed of.
The construction manager was murdered and dismembered. Such a gruesome incident. But it was just that, an incident. A person caused the incident after all. Should they really put it down to the curse?
Then the following year, the man who had organized Hinamizawa's group of dam proponents, he fell from a cliff while on vacation and died. Apparently, it was an accident.
Of course, most of Hinamizawa was hostile towards him. The police were all over the case as if it were a homicide, but in the end it was judged to have been an accident. Now it's an accident. This is the most curse-like one, but it's still far-fetched.
And then, on the next year, this time the priest of this shrine contracted an unknown illness and suddenly died. This may sound a little rude, but the old priest was kind of a wait-and-see type. The whole village was in an uproar about the dam, but he just kind of didn't seem to want to bother. The shrine was a symbol of the opposition movement, and its priest, well, his attitude worked against him. The villagers at the time had hoped for a leader, but their hopes were betrayed. Some people were apparently pretty angry too. So at the time, all the older people were like, This is Oyashiro-sama's curse. That's what they said.
It did seem like every year, dam-related people the village had resentment towards were dying. It was pretty creepy. Oh, and also, it's interesting. All of these incidents and accidents always happen on the night of the Watanagashi Festival. There's the kicker. What? See? Starting to sound like a curse now, isn't it? Then the year after that. In other words, last year, the sister-in-law of the man who was the leader of the dam proponents. The sister-in-law of the man. So Satoko's father's brother's wife. So Satoko's aunt. Okay. Got it. The one who accidentally died was discovered dead, having been beaten to death. Of course, they caught that criminal. See? Really seems like a curse, huh? 4 years in a row. Each one of the incidents and accidents were relatively commonplace, but every single one of them happening on the night of the festival worshipping Oyashiro-sama? That's not normal.
The old folks have been blindly accepting Oyashiro-sama's curse because of the incidents these past few years. Even younger people, too. At first they thought it was stupid, but now nobody makes fun of it.
Yeah, I can see where she's coming from. Even me. Even if I didn't think there was a curse at all, thinking about all the incidents like this makes me feel like maybe it's real? For example, just look at the preparations for the festival you were doing today. Everything might have gone crazy during the battle against the dam, but just a few years ago, the Watanagashi Festival was never this well attended.
Well, I guess you're right. If we didn't have Oyashiro-sama to talk about, we wouldn't all be coming to a festival like this, huh? There's a lot of people who say that infidels might be punished, so they really need to go to Oyashiro-sama's festival.
Shion nodded as if she were mocking herself. So, how about now? Keiichi-kun, you're starting to get the feeling that maybe, just maybe, the curse is real, aren't you? I mean, you can't just laugh off people related to the dam construction project all dying like that. Even if I feel like this now, then the more superstitious members of the village must feel stronger than that. Well, I mean, I still don't think there's a curse. I can understand those that believe there is, though.
Wow, Kei-chan. You can really keep a cool head about this.
Shion grinned, realizing I'd rejected the curse.
If it's neither a curse nor a coincidence, then what should we make of these incidents?
Takano-san said, smiling playfully as if posing a riddle. Neither a curse nor a coincidence. But every year, someone dies. What should we make of that, then? Tomitake-san, catching on to the fact that I had no idea what to make of it, opened his mouth and came to my aid. Takano-san is suggesting that it might be the work of real people.
Huh?
Simple process of elimination would have gotten me there. I was a little taken aback at not having realized the answer immediately.
Well, think about it. If it's neither a curse nor coincidence, then people must be willingly carrying it out. It's the only explanation, right?
Pressed Takano-san. I smiled bitterly in spite of myself. Here I was just a few minutes ago, thinking the very concept of a curse was absolutely absurd. When she suggested it was someone's doing, I ended up thinking there wasn't any way it could be a person. But Takano-san was right. It was either a curse or it was a person's doing. If unrealistic things like curses didn't exist, then the obvious next step would be to start thinking it was people behind it. But if that was the case, I glanced at Shion.
If the culprit is a person, then they'd have to be someone from Hinamizaba. That's what the police officer, Oishi-san, thinks right now, too.
Hey, wait. That can't be. I thought I now knew the reason Mion didn't want to talk about this. If Oyashiro-sama's curse really existed, then that's fine. It would be divine judgment for the dam project business. However, if Oyashiro-sama's curse didn't exist, which it obviously didn't, then the culprit would most likely be someone from Hinamizaba. The villagers had worked desperately to oppose the dam construction project. I knew they had used all sorts of methods to fight against it. If one of those methods was... maybe...
People whisper that Oyashiro-sama's curse could be the doing of a secret group in the dam resistance movement.
Shion dryly put words to my exact thoughts. Of course, I didn't expect it. She was from Hinamizaba, so I didn't think she'd come out and say it herself.
If you calm down and think about it, anyone would come to the same conclusion. There wouldn't be a motive for anyone but people who benefit from opposing the dam project, right?
I guess that's true. Admitting to the existence of a darker side of the dam conflict would be rude to Mion, who spoke of it so highly. So I couldn't just accept Shion's seemingly logical viewpoint.
One more thing. The police probably don't know this. There's proof that someone from Hinamizaba committed these crimes, and the people of Hinamizaba know it.
Huh? What? Shion rebukes me to keep my voice down. Sorry, but this proof, what is it?
It's the fact that one person dies, and one more person disappears.
One more person disappears. Did that mean that someone besides the one who died from the curse was a sacrifice? What do you mean by disappear? They just vanish and you never see them again?
That's right. Suddenly and without a trace.
As she spoke, Shion pretended to do a trick with her hands like she were making a magician's hat disappear. One dies a mysterious death, and one disappears, never to be seen again. A strange vanishing act. But then why? How does that equate to someone from Hinamizawa being the culprit?
Well, actually, Hinamizawa has this one really old legend. It's about how people offer sacrifices to Oyashiro-sama to calm his wrath.
Sacrifices?
Yes. They say they used to wrap a living person up in a bamboo mat and let them slowly sink down into a bottomless swamp.
Takano-san, though explaining something pretty terrible, has a look of glee on her face as she did so.
As far as I can glean from the literature, it actually took 3 days and 3 nights for them to sink. See, even people a long time ago liked symbolism. As the body sunk, Oyashiro-sama's anger would be quelled. Both were submerged into the deep.
Takano-san was the only one laughing at this. Was she telling a joke or something? Shion didn't move to deny it, but I felt a difference in temperature between her cool expression and Takano-san's.
This whole conversation... Well, I think you can imagine after hearing it, but it's the secret history of Hinamizawa. Everyone who has been in Hinamizawa for a long time knows it, but they don't talk about it.
Takano-san's not from here, but she knows quite a lot. She really likes local history, folk legends, stuff like that. She learned about it all by herself, too.
I'm really not all that amazing. Just curious, that's all. Like a child. I just want to see scary things for the fun of it.
Tomitake-san laughed, a little bit embarrassed. Wait a minute. What does that mean? The other person who disappears during the incidents, you're saying they're offered as a sacrifice? Yeah. Shion answers in one word before anyone else can speak. Someone dies and someone disappears. Well, whether they actually get sacrificed or not is a different issue. But every time something happened in the past, one person died and one other person disappeared. For example, the first one where the dam site manager was killed, apparently one of the people responsible for that still hasn't been arrested. Couldn't that just mean he managed to get away? I don't see why we should treat him as a sacrifice. Well, that's basically what I think too. There was also the year after that, with the leader of the dam proponents. You said he fell from a cliff and died while on vacation, right?
Apparently his wife fell as well. The police investigated fervently, but they were never able to find the wife's corpse. The river under the cliff was actually pretty high at the time, though. She could have just been buried under the sand at the bottom of some lake downstream or something.
The perpetrator of a dismemberment like that wouldn't want to get caught, so they'd be desperate to run away and hide, too. I thought I'd heard about cases where the corpse wouldn't surface after the person drowned in a swelled river like that. She vanished because of an unfortunate accident, but I still didn't see the connection to sacrifices. If you took each of the past incidents in turn, none of the disappearances evoke that terrifying of an image.
The year after that, with the priest suddenly falling ill and dying, is much queerer. His wife left a suicide note. They found it in their house the night the priest died. It said something along the lines of her quelling Oyashiro-sama's wrath through her death.
The curse. It seems to turn up in this one, though. Well, we may never know the truth of the matter. The swamp the wife drowned herself in was the giant, bottomless one Takano mentioned before. The police investigated it, but all they could find were several of her possessions. They never found the corpse. The police suspected it was a fake suicide, and they're still investigating it now. Someone dies every year, and in the same way, someone goes missing every year. Is she trying to tell me that everyone who vanished was kidnapped by some extremely efficient means and dumped into the bottomless swamp, still alive and drowned to death? But a curse? That's unbelievable in its own right. And the next year, what was it? The damn proponent's sister-in-law? She was killed. So, at that time, someone else vanished?
Someone did disappear. It was a boy around my age named Satoshi Hojo. He's the nephew by marriage of the woman killed.
Shion cut in with a slightly strong tone of voice. She knew the boy who had disappeared pretty well. At least, that's the vibe I was getting. Oh, she does. Well, that about sums everything up. Are you not going to make the connection to Satoko? Do you not know her last name? One person always dies, and one person always suddenly disappears. Leaving the suddenness aside, the fact that each incident involved one person disappearing. So that means the first person who dies is because of Oyashiro-sama's curse, and the second person who vanishes is because the villagers sacrificed them? Is that it?
Kei-chan, there is no curse. Somebody kills the first person under the guise of the curse, and someone takes away the second person to be a sacrifice.
But Shion, that means the criminal is in the village!
That's what I've been guessing from the start. It's pretty shocking though, you know? We live in the Showa period. It's kinda hard to believe people are committing murder like it's nothing, using some ancient justifications, huh?
It didn't have anything to do with our discussion, but I got the feeling that maybe Shion didn't like Hinamizaba very much. Mion enjoyed talking about Hinamizaba and its epic tales, so she had avoided talking about Oyashiro-sama's curse, which didn't paint Hinamizaba in a good light no matter how you looked at it. She was trying not to give me a bad impression of the village, so she didn't say anything. Shion, on the other hand, was somehow different. She wasn't rejecting the concept of a curse to purge Hinamizaba of this bad impression, but rather because she strongly believed that a member of the village was the criminal behind this. Her conviction seemed a bit removed from the tight sense of community held by the people of Hinamizaba. Once upon a time, they looked so alike you could mistake one for the other. But talking to her now, I was getting a powerful feeling that Shion had a completely different personality than Mion. Than everyone else. They all think someone from Hinamizaba did it, right? Neither Shion nor Takano-san answered that. The deafening silence told me all that needed to be said. Then let me ask another question. If someone from Hinamizaba is the culprit, then who is it? Neither Shion nor Takano-san had a reply to that question either. Though it may have been rude to ask, I had hoped they wouldn't have one. The reason I asked was to argue that their explanation that the culprit was from Hinamizaba was nothing more than one possibility. Shion caught on to my plan. She gave a pained smile at my petty spite and opened her mouth to speak.
All I said really just amounts to circumstantial evidence anyway. If any of us knew who it really was, we'd have gotten them into police hands already.
As would anybody. Then what about Takano-san? She too smiled dryly as Shion had and opened her own mouth. Well, I'd like to clear one thing up. I'm not a detective or anything, alright? In all honesty, I'm not really interested in who the culprit is. Takano-san, you sure are a handful. Tomitake-san gives a bitter laugh at her surprising opinion on the matter. You see, I just like cruel and atrocious ancient traditions and fairy tales.
I only enjoy them from a curious onlooker's perspective. So even for this string of incidents, it's not so much finding out who the culprit is, but enjoying thinking about how the old traditions displayed by the incidents themselves still seems to have some pretty deep roots around here. Though she described herself as nothing more than a curious onlooker, her smile was as sharp as the tip of a blade. Women like her felt very strange and a little scary to me. Maybe it's just that I was in fearful awe of the person whose emotions I couldn't comprehend. Well, I don't think any of this is interesting at all. The Watanagashi Festival is coming up tomorrow, but I don't want anyone to die or disappear. Tomorrow, huh? That's right. It had completely slipped my mind. The string of murder incidents people attributed to Oyashiro-sama's curse. It wasn't over. If last year's incident wasn't the end, then tomorrow night at the festival, would someone die and someone disappear? I do wonder who will die tomorrow and who will disappear, though. Takano-san said, running a comb through her hair with elegant movements, with a thin smile and a voice that nearly made me shudder. She almost looked like she was enjoying the thought of the incidents that could happen tomorrow. Then, out of the blue, we heard a loud round of applause. They seemed to be ending the drinking party early. Right, I was making Mion wait this whole time, wasn't I? I should go back to her soon. You're teasing the kid too much, Takano-san. Now Keiichi-kun thinks it's all true. I apologize. It's that bad habit of mine again, said Takano-san, sticking out her tongue bashfully. The strangeness in her expression was nowhere to be found. When Takano-san sees an innocent child like you, she can't help wanting to poke fun at them. It's a real bad habit. Keiichi-kun, you listened to everything so earnestly that she ended up getting carried away. Unlike Takano-san, Tomitake-san seemed like a totally normal person with common sense. They were apologizing after realizing what kind of impression they'd given me. The stuff Takano-san just said is all fiction. If it made you harbor any bad impressions about Hinamizaba, then we apologize for that. Jeez, Jiro-san. You apologize too, Takano-san. Tell him you're sorry for scaring him. Takano-san and Tomitake-san were arguing and messing around now. The strained air around us had already dissipated. Kei-chan, you should get going soon too. Mion is the jealous type. If she sees me, she'll probably start a fight, so I'll just be going home. Really? Then I'll go see what Mion's doing and apologize for making her wait, I guess. I'm sorry for being such a nuisance, Keiichi-kun. Could you tell Mion-chan we're sorry for borrowing you for so long? Ah, yes. I don't think telling her will make her feel any better, but sure. Tomitake-san and Takano-san, standing next to each other, both began to chuckle. Okay then, Kei-chan. Let's try and run into each other at tomorrow's festival. We'll see each other. I mean, it's us we're talking about after all. We'll be making so much trouble it'll be hard for you not to find us. Shion and I said our goodbyes to Tomitake-san and Takano-san. Before we could leave, Takano-san called out to us. Thanks for listening so earnestly to what I had to say. You're just so good at listening, I had a great time talking to you. Good at listening? No, not at all. I was just in a state of perpetual bewilderment from all the shocking topics being thrown at me one after another. Did you like my story today? Well, it was pretty interesting. Then I'll tell you some more sometime, okay? There's a lot of pretty interesting legends and fairy tales about Hinamizawa. Of course, a lot of strange and creepy ones, too. I'll choose a bunch of my favorites and tell you about them. I was kind of happy, but kind of worried. I can't help but smile dryly and scratch at my head. Keiichi-kun, you can go now. Takano-san is just messing with you. They say goodbye again and run off. I heard Tomitake-san call out behind him in a clear voice that we would see each other at the festival tomorrow. When I went to the tent Mion was waiting for me in, she was nowhere to be found. I made her wait so long, maybe she got mad and went home. After asking some adults passing by, I heard that she went home, talking to some relatives. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. But my regret for having made Mion wait wasn't enough to triumph over the impression Takano-san and Shion's uncanny story left on me.
Serial murder incidents had happened 4 years in a row. Would tomorrow's events make this the 5th? And the possibility that someone from Hinamizaba was carrying this all out under the guise of a curse. The queer tradition of ritual sacrifice, entirely unbecoming of the Showa period we lived in. I regretted it a little, though it was too late. If none of those creepy stories had anything to do with me, then I should have let Mion pull me away from that crowd. I felt a little ashamed about letting my cheap curiosity get the better of me. And then, whoosh, yeah! Interessante, not really anything we didn't already know. This chapter is very slow so far. Even compared to Onigafuchi. Ha ha! Cool! Time to read a fuck ton more. Achievement unlocked, a little elbow grease, and it's got a picture of tea. Cool. From the scrapbook 1, 2, 3, and festivals around the corner. Alright. Oyashiro-sama's curse. In the ancient Onigafuchi village, the anger of Oyashiro-sama, his curse, was feared above all. However, it is seldom stated anywhere what eventually happens, and what sort of divine judgment, curse, befalls them when Oyashiro-sama is angry. From various reports, all hell will break loose. Demons will come flooding out. The miasma from hell will flood outward and kill every villager, letting not a single one escape. The ones evoking images of the village being annihilated stand out the most. These terrifying ideas of divine punishment are in alignment with many other religious beliefs regarding the apocalypse, hell, and it's easy to imagine that they are just ways of convincing people to obey the teachings in order to prevent such an end. The conditions for inciting Oyashiro-sama's wrath are likely the same as the taboos in Onigafuchi village. I believe that when an act was performed that violates one of these taboos, Oyashiro-sama was termed angry, and in order to quell his anger, they would perform the aforementioned sacrificial ritual. Oh, that was short. Alright. So then, scrapbook 2. The human sacrifice ritual. The sacrificial ritual was a simple drowning, involving plunging sacrifices into Onigafuchi swamp, which was considered hallowed. Of the rituals of Onigafuchi village, this one was unique in that the sacrifice would sink slowly over the long course of 3 days and 3 nights. I believe that it wasn't so much the killing of this sacrifice that was important, but rather the symbolism of them sinking as the submerging of Oyashiro-sama's anger. For that purpose, they must have had a passion for learning various methods for keeping the sacrifice from sinking too quickly, to force them to sink more slowly. Unfortunately, as far as I can tell from the records, those methods were not recorded. My thoughts are that they may have used logs or some similar material to create a raft, then set up a scaffold on there, hung the sacrifice up with ropes, and let them sink little by little over time into the swamp. However, if that were the case, it would not be strange if the ritual implements used for such a ceremony were honored as holy and enshrined somewhere. Interesting. So the tools are somewhere? Perhaps like hidden in the shrine? Scrapbook 3. Implements used for the ritual. Ritual tools utilized for ancient religious ceremonies are commonly referred to as implements or ritual implements. And even now, some of them are enshrined on the property of Furudai Shrine and the 3 families. However, the identifiable tools are all decorative, and none appear to have been used in rituals governing the dark side of Onigafuchi village. As the Edo era came to a close and many traditional rituals were lost, were they lost as well, or perhaps buried in the darkness? I don't believe so. Both the implements used on the night of the Feast of Onigafuchi and those used during the sacrificial ceremony must still exist, enshrined away from the eyes of the masses. Without a doubt, they exist here, today, at this very moment, in Hinamizaba. Also, I'm nearly certain where they've been enshrined. What was once locked steadfastly has, for some reason, changed this year to a cheap-looking padlock. He may be able to do something about such a lock. However, it is not far from the assembly hall, nor is it ever far from the presence of people. However, I will not give up. The night when it becomes a blind spot to every villager in Hinamizaba is coming soon. Soon, it will be Watanagashi. Okay. Interesting. Alright, festival's around the corner. Rabble, rabble, rabble. Who the fuck is Komiyama? Hey, are you worn out already? Tomorrow's the real thing. We're gonna be partying until morning, until the very end of it all. Got it? Okay, cops, huh? Kumagai. Got it. I'll give it everything I've got. Alright then. Youth is the greatest. Good work, everyone. Tomorrow is Watanagashi at last. Let's get some shut-eye in and save our energy for tomorrow night. Tomorrow is finally Watanagashi. Festivals are split into two groups, those who enjoy them and those who support them. The former only need prepare their minds, but the latter needs not only that, but also painstakingly crafted plans and preliminary arrangements. While the general majority attending goes about enjoying the festival without a care in the world, we'll be strained the whole way through. Why? You sure as hell know why. Because the beer after everything's over is the best damn beer you'll ever have. At times like these, it's best to have energetic, physically fit people. It wouldn't be worth it if you didn't do your best until the end, enjoying it the whole way. Oh, he's here. Oishi-san came in. Everyone hurried to stand up. Hello, everyone. Excellent work out there. You can be at ease. Thank you, sir! Not even my seniors, who usually talk big about themselves, can hold a candle to Oishi-san. We all bow as if we were one of those cheering squads of old. Kurado Oishi. A detective just waiting to retire. One who doesn't pay much mind to rules and regulations, and who doesn't do too much in the way of real work. He looks like a rotten old man with a penchant for dirty jokes. My seniors, though, tell me he was a real fighter in his younger days, and that he may or may not have quite a heroic legend trailing behind him. Anyway, he surely had much more dignity and presence in the room than the section chief who came in with him. Everyone, I really thank you for your hard work on the preparations for the festival tomorrow. Everyone present stands upright and lends their ear to the chief's directions. We're on heavy alert for any thrill-seeking criminals expecting another incident like last year. I need all of you to focus your energy as much as possible in your mission to prevent any crimes from happening. Yes, sir! Of course, it would be best if nothing happened. However, everyone, please assume that an incident will, in fact, occur. Prevention is number one, but it probably won't be enough. This year, too, someone will die and someone will disappear. There's really no doubt about it. Everyone apart from the section chief smiled painfully. Takasugi. Oishi-san, that won't do. We need to be more serious about this. The important part isn't to get past the night of the festival. It's to be able to quickly, swiftly, and aggressively pursue whatever does happen tomorrow night. I won't tolerate anything less than your best. Clench those cheeks. We're gonna rip all the skin off the ghost of Oyashiro-sama's curse. Yeah! Okay. Come on. Video game. Alright. So then, exit. That was a lot of tips. Thankfully, none were too long. Oh, okay. I really meant to say things differently. I really didn't want to feel this way. Miscommunication drove in the wedge, so stuck in apprehension driven to fear. Nobody can stop it now, as cold hard emotion claws deeply and cruelly at my bared heart. Watanagashi. At that time, why did I whisper in remorse, but now those words simply rang hollow. Hi, Rena. Hello. Alright. Well, that's gonna be it for this relatively long episode. We had a pretty good discussion by myself at the beginning of the episode, but yeah. Part of me's debating, though, that if the anime decides to, be paced that quickly, it's gonna catch up to me at the rate I'm going. And the rate it's going, assuming that the next arc is 4 episodes, that would mean that it would take 4 weeks for it to catch up to me, so at least 4 weeks, assuming I finish this within 3-ish. So that would mean 29th, 5th, 12th, 19th of November would be when the end of the next arc happens. Of course, it could be like 6 episodes. It could even be 8. But we'll see. Part of me is thinking, though, that I should try to do these episodes like 3 out of 4 days, maybe? Like, basically, if I ever have a chance to record an extra episode of the series just to stay ahead of the curve, then I should do it. It's not going to overtake any other series. Extra episodes of Higurashi aren't going to take precedent over, like, GTA or Persona, but, like, you know, or Super Mario. But maybe, well, no, because I upload alongside Super Mario for this anyways. Regardless, I should hopefully be able to have this out Thursday night. It is currently almost 3:30 p.m., so I'll edit it and upload it instantly. So, yeah, hopefully it'll be up by 6-ish, but I doubt it'll be that fast. We'll see. EST, I'm speaking, by the way. Regardless, that's gonna be it for this episode, guys. If you liked it, then be sure to press the like button, and if you didn't like it, then fuck you too. Remember to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all my videos and stuff. And as always, my name is Godzi, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye!